Okay, so right now it's 8 p.m. Good evening, everyone. So before I start, just do some checking. Are you able to hear my voice? Hello, hello, good evening, everyone. So if you can, right, can you say hi to me at the chat so that I know that you all can hear my voice? Okay, let me also do the lives right now. Hello, hello, hi everyone. Good evening, good evening. Wow, I see there's a lot of familiar names over here. Hello, hello everyone. Good evening, Kevin. Hello, thanks. All right, so today, very happy to have you guys over here again for our webinar. So we will be we'll be starting very soon. All right. So just to double check, if you are just joining for this webinar, if you can hear my voice, you can say hi to me in the chat at the bottom. There's a chat button, right? You can click and say hi to me. Hello, hello, Eunice. Good evening. All right, so we will be starting very soon. So today we're happy that we have Dan over here. Hi, Vincent. Hello, Wong. All right. So before we start, so let me just do a quick sharing. Okay. All right, let me just do a quick share. Okay, let me share. All right, are you able to see my screen? Okay. Okay. So just to share, for today we'll be sharing a new platform. Okay. Let me refresh first. Okay, for this platform, we call it as InvestSG. It's a platform where you can access and also to look for Singapore market information. All right, this is a new platform that we have launched. It's called InvestSG. So it's a totally new platform and it's a community platform and it's free to use. It's just like Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram that you can see there's a lot of different content over here from Joey, from Jun Yuan about REITs market, all right, and also from Dan as well, which is the speaker for today. All right, so there's a lot of different features. Okay, so another features is investment portfolio. So today, Dan will be sharing his portfolio later as well, which you can actually see what he have in his portfolio and how he trades also. So before we start later for the session, so you can Google Events SG and you can just sign up with Facebook or Google. Then later on you can follow with Dan when Dan are actually showing his portfolio. All right. Another one is the research hub that we have over here. So over here, there is a lot of different research. We compile all the research over here. Then you can find all the research paper in one place. Okay, you can search for the stocks or based on filter based on the time. Based on the date, got the contributor, the asset classes, and which are the sector as well. So it's a very convenient features that we have that you can filter different research paper over here. Okay, so upcoming we'll have this stock calendar as well. All right, but I think it's a very simple platform to use. So yeah, so just to share, okay, so this is some of the heat map that we have. Then after that, we also have, for example, let me see, let us go to stocks, okay, DBS. Okay, so this is the DBS, and we also have the stock analysis, seasonality charts for you to use. Okay, so let's not wait for here. Okay, so right now it's 8:04. Let's start for today's session. All right, so first of all, welcome Dan. Hi Dan,
Hey,
how
hi
are you?
Darren. Hi, hello everyone.
Hello, hi Dan. So happy to have you here again to our investing note webinar. So for today, I think it's a very interesting topics also because Singapore market is breaking new high again. All right, so it's very close to, although there's some adjustment that is, but it's still maintaining at the 4,400
400.
level, right, for the STI. So
Yes.
it's very interesting. So for today, definitely we want to drive inside what is happening in the Singapore market and which are the sector or stocks we should actually monitor more. and also I will also awaiting, and also I want to listen to you. How do you manage your portfolio as well, right? So without further ado, I will just pass time to you.
Sure, sure, no problem. Okay, so first of all, let me share my screen first.
Yeah, while you are saying while you are setting up, right? Wow, Kelvin, invest to the moon. STI
Yeah, I saw
to
that. I saw that comment as
10,000 in
well.
2040. Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll pass the time to you then.
Okay. Okay. First of all, hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Share Investor and Darren for inviting me for this webinar. I mean, I've been on Investing Note for I think about what 7, 8 years, and it has been quite a while since I appeared on a Investing Note webinar. So I'm really grateful to be here again. And of course, thanks to everyone that is watching this now. Thank you for spending your precious evening with me. I really hope that this evening will be value added to you. And to Kelvin, I really hope 2040 will see 10,000 for STI. Okay. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the market trend, the next Singapore opportunity for Singapore, for investors in the Singapore market. Okay. And I'm sure just now, as Darren has said, right, STI is at all-time high. In fact, the last time it was at all-time high was 2 days ago. I do have a chart later. And a lot of questions that I often get in recent days, or I would say recent weeks, is that, hey, Dan, now the market is so high already, how to buy, what to buy, when to buy, So today we are going to explore these questions, and we try to see an answer to it. And I really hope that we can find the right answer, the right solution, the right strategy to answer all these questions. Okay. Okay, so before that, right, the most important slides of the whole evening, the disclaimer. I mean, today is a very chill webinar, so uh, uh, I would just say that disclaimer. This is just for educational purposes. I'll be mentioning a few stocks in the webinar, but do take note that they are not meant for uh, a recommendation to buy or to sell. Okay, so it's purely for sharing purposes. I mean, after this webinar, right, if you make money, that's because you're smart. And of course, if you lose money, it has nothing to do with this webinar. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. Okay, so jokes aside, let's uh let's start. Okay, I'm not, because there are about 100 over of you here. I'm not too sure how many of you know me, but just give me 1 or 2 minutes to do a self introduction. So my name is Dan. I am presently a stockbroker, a trading rep, or remisier, whichever you call it, with Singapore local broking firm, as well as an HGS Academy speaker. So I have been in the industry for about 24 years. In fact, this month was my 24th years anniversary. Okay, so I do a lot of things, from traditional stockbroking to advisory, all the way to a advocate of financial literacy. Basically, I do everything. Okay, and in my dual role, right, I actually work very closely with retail investors. Okay, and I really hope that this webinar will be of value to you in your investment journey. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time on myself. Okay, so if after this webinar you still have some question that I will not be able to answer, you can scan the QR code on the bottom right hand corner to add my handphone to your contact. Okay, if not, you can visit any of my profile page here, okay, or any of my socials, in order to reach me. No worries. Do take note that I also have a Telegram channel. This Telegram channel is actually free of charge, so it's free. It's a free channel. You can actually go in and subscribe for it, and see what I've been doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay, okay. So without further ado, let's start. Now, Singapore market has hit an all-time high this year. Have you been making money? Okay, I think we have to amend a bit this question. The reason being that I believe that everyone here who has been vested in the Singapore market should be making money. Why? Because at this level, right, Singapore market and for most stocks are even higher than when it was pre-COVID. Okay, so be it whether you went through the COVID period, or you buy during the COVID period, or you buy during the rate hike period, okay, you should be making money. Okay, and the question now maybe we should be asking is that, are we making enough profit in proportion to an STI at the all-time high? Are we making, like STI is hitting all-time high? Are we making like 1%, 2%, 5%, or 10%? I mean, after all, right, when the market goes up, there is always boat that rise higher. There is also boat that are not rising as high. Okay, so today, right, we will be looking at some of the boat that I hope is not floating so high yet. Okay, so this webinar will be mainly split into three sections. Okay, as I said, thanks for joining this evening. But because I don't know your demographic, you could be a very veteran investor, you could be a very active trader, you could also be a busy professional who want to invest but have not been looking at the market. Okay, so I need to give some context to this webinar in order for the webinar to be value adding. Okay, so there will be three sections in this webinar. One, I'll be talking about the market pulse of Singapore market. Okay, that is what is happening in Singapore market now. Number two, what is driving this uptrend in the Singapore market? And third, of course, is where are the next opportunity? Okay, so Singapore market pulse. So as we all know, right, just now as Darren has mentioned, we are actually at the all-time high. In fact, the last all-time high that we have seen was just 2 days ago. Okay, so this is a chart that is of yesterday closing price. So you can see that about 2 days ago, we are hitting 4,478 points. Okay, and of course we have been seeing some pullback yesterday and today. Okay, so there are some pullback here, but nevertheless we are still at a very high level. So this is a 2-year chart of STI. So if you notice, right, for those who have been in the Singapore market for very long, Singapore market has always been dubbed as a very boring market. From 2010 to all the way to 2020, we are seeing like the 2,000 point to 3,000 point and things like that. Okay, so every day we are seeing like 10 point, 5 point increment and things like that. And since the turn of the year in January 25, we are starting to see a very significant change. In fact, we have been seeing a very significant change since almost the 2Q 2024. That was when the US election was starting to gather space, with Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. Okay, and that was when we start to see the market coming up. Okay, and even after US president was being announced as Donald Trump, right? We are still seeing the market going up until the April period where these Trump introduced these they call it the American Liberation Day, where he introduced a lot of tariff to a lot of countries, in fact 186 countries, and we see a big crunch in the global market, including STI. But as you can see, right, what takes maybe about 6 months from this level to take this level, after the Liberation Day, right, it only take about 1.5 months for them to hit from this level to this level. Okay, maybe I should on the laser pointer. Okay, so as I was saying, right, last time we take this level, we take about 6 months to go from here to here. Okay, but after the Liberation Day, we have seen the market move with exactly the same magnitude, but in only 1.5 months. And the market has been climbing even after that, breaking the then 4,000 level point, okay, all the way up. But as we see, right, as they go higher, you can see that the magnitude of the rise has start to become smaller, and we are seeing some profit taking along the way. But nevertheless, right, we are still making baby steps all the way up. Okay, so even at this point in time, we are still very, very, very near to the all-time high. Okay, and this time around, right, what is different from this rally to the other past rally is that in the past, when SDI rally, investors will always say, it's always the DBS, the UOB, the OCBC, the Singtel, the four heavyweight in the SDI constituent that take up more than 50% of the whole weightage of SDI. Okay, that was in the past. But this year, right, the rally is a bit different. Okay, as you can see, right, not only are we seeing a steep rise on the STI, we are also seeing a very steep rise on the IH Singapore Next 50 index. Okay, so this IH Singapore Next 50 index, right, is actually a very new index that was launched just last month. Okay, the reason why we have all these data, right, was because they actually backdated to 2014. Okay, but I do have a few slides on then on these Singapore Next 50 index in later on. Okay, so I'll zoom in on that later. But what I want to emphasize is that outside of the top 30 stocks in the Singapore market, right, we are also seeing the next 50 stocks, biggest by market capitalization, going up as well. And not only that, we are also seeing a lot of uptakes on the mid cap and the small cap. Okay, you see the mid cap is moving like from 5,500 or rather 550 all the way to about 750. Okay, so that is about 40% gain. Same for small cap. They have moved from about 220 over to about almost close to 300 before coming down to about 280. So this time around, right, the rally is very broad-based. It's not just it's not just the TBS, the Singtel, and the banks. Okay, it's really a very broad-based kind of uptrend that we're seeing this year. Okay, so when we're seeing a broad-based uptrend, right? But uptrend doesn't mean that there are people trading on it. Okay, for people who have been trading in the market for quite a while, you know that there are some illiquid stocks where they can register very high gain because they are illiquid. So just a small buyer to buy up at the ask price will push up the price a lot. Okay, but this is not the case this year. We are also seeing a very high trading activities on stock that's outside of the big cap. Okay, so this is a very recent article from this SGX. It's on the 22nd of October 2025. So as they say, as the statistics has shown, right, among the Singapore 100 most traded stock this year, more than 20 of them fall out of the top 100 by market cap. That means that it is not in the SDI, it's not in the next 50 SDI. Okay, so these non-cap, non-big cap names, right, are already punching above their weight in terms of liquidity and investor attention. Okay, so it's not like nobody's trading them. In fact, the combined average daily turnover is about 42.9 million, and the combined market cap is about 8.15 billion. And of which, right, for those who have been following the Singapore market, these names may sound I think it may sound quite familiar to some of you because they have been in the market for quite some time, but because they are small mid cap, not a lot of busy investors, working investors, or investors with family commitment that they will look at. But for people who have been looking at the Singapore market actively, these names are not very unfamiliar names. Okay, in fact, all these company has been rising year to date in 2025. And CMNC Gold Mine is one of the best performer in this category. And obviously so, right, because the gold price is at all-time high also. Okay, so out of here, right, this is the list of some of the small cap that is actively traded from year to date 2025. So you can see that other than nano firm, okay, other than nano firm, which is registering a -8 total return, all the other stocks are having positive return. Okay, with CNMC up 418%. Even these are Lam Chang creation, right? Which is a very new IPO. It IPO a few months ago, are seeing a lot of investor attention. A lot of people are trading them. And counters like Samudara, which used to be very illiquid, WeHer, which used to be very illiquid, are attracting a lot of attention in the market. Okay. And of course, there are also companies like ISO team, the tech company, Valuetronic, Franken, AEM, and CIC Global, which is into the data center. All these could be quite familiar name with active investor. They are all seeing a lot of activities, trading activities in the silver market. And there are still some tailwinds going into the end of 2025. Of course, we have the rate cuts. Okay, I think this morning, which is yesterday night, the Fed has just cut the federal fund rate to 3.75 to 4%. Okay, of course, there is a demo there, which the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, refused to lock in a December rate cut, which everyone is expecting it. So that give a sort of a demo to the market. That's why our share market dropped a bit today, but not too much, not too much. Okay, but that said, right, I think a lot of us would agree that despite this demo, we all have to agree that the rates at this point in time is very high. Okay, and we are at the rate cut cycle. So the rate will eventually have to come down. Okay, it's just a matter of whether it's slower or faster. Okay, so rate cuts scenario is still very much alive, I would say. Okay, and that is one tailwind which will benefit the risk on the silver market. And we have about 40 REITs in the SGX in the on the listed on the SGX, and Singapore being the largest REITs market outside of Japan in Asia, we are poised to benefit from it. Okay, and I have some slide later to show that REITs actually play a very big part in the whole Singapore market. Right. Then we also have the next team, which a lot of people are very familiar, your NVIDIA, your AI team. Okay. So big tech and AI stocks are still very much in play. In fact, recently we have seen NVIDIA hitting all-time high. We have seen a surge in Intel. We have seen a surge in Broadcom. It seems like they are taking a lot. They are taking uh, 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 taking chance to just keep on hitting the all-time high. And there is a lot of I would say technology supply chain company in Singapore. Okay, I can just name you a few: AEM, Valuetronic, Franken, UMS. Okay, all these companies, some of them are even a familiar name in Malaysia as well, because they have a lot of plants in Malaysia. Like for example, AEM have a testing assembly line in Penang. UMS also have a plant in Malaysia, and there are a few more tech company in Singapore. Okay, so that should prove a tailwind for the Singapore market as well. Okay, and of course, there is also this sector which I personally think is underrated. Okay, that is the global renewable energy sector. I mean, despite Donald Trump keeps saying drill baby drill, okay, where he's very big on oil drilling, okay, but we cannot deny the fact that a lot of funds are being pouring into this renewable energy sector. Okay, and in Singapore, right, we have Capricorp, we have Sembcorp, two of the biggest company in Singapore that is doing this renewable energy, as well as a lot of other small and mid cap as well. Okay, and this should prove a tailwind for our share market as well. Okay. Last but not least, we also have the China recovery play. I know China recovery has been in the talks for almost a year now. In fact, I have written quite a few articles on these China recovery stories. Okay, you can later I can show you my link there. You can go in and take a read. Okay, yes, the recovery has been slow, I would say, but if you compare now to last September, where there was the first biggest stimulus package being introduced, Chinese market is still better off than where it was in September 2024. Okay, that is a undeniable fact. That is a fact. Okay, so yes, the recovery has been splutter, but at the end of the day, we are seeing improvement, and we are probably going to see more improvement in the Chinese market. You know, now that the Chinese stocks are coming back, uh, um, people like Jack Ma and Pony Ma are shaking hands with President Xi Jinping. So that is a good sign. Okay. And I think the China play is still a very a good team to look forward to. Then you must be wondering, why am I talking about a China recovery team in the Singapore market? Well, because now we can actually gain access to the China market on the SGX. Okay, now we have Singapore Depository Receipt, SDR for short. So presently there are about 13 Hong Kong SDR listed on the SGX. Okay, with companies like Xiaomi, Tencent, Alibaba, HSBC, Bank of China, what else? The Labubu, the pork mark, and things like that. So there are a lot of exposure to the Chinese stocks on the SGX as well, and that should prove a tailwind for our Singapore market in general. Okay, so uh having going through what is happening to the Singapore market, right? Now, what is driving the Singapore market now? Okay, so behind the scene, actually not really behind the scene. Okay, I mean it has been very widely published that SGX and MES has been doing a lot to drive the Singapore market. Kudos to them to realize that that Singapore market has been in the doldrum for many years now. Okay, and we have been a bit illiquid since the 2013 penny stock crash. But now the good thing is MES together with SGX, they have come together to try to prop up the Singapore market. And here, right, there are two very important initiative that was being introduced that I think I want to share with you all. Okay, one is the MES Equity Review Group. The other is the IH Singapore Next 50 Indices, which I have touched on earlier. Okay, sorry. Okay, so probably we make it more interactive. Maybe for those of you out there, right? How many have you heard of these MES Equity Review Group? If you know about it, can you press maybe key in a one in the chat group? Oh, thanks, Kelvin. Thanks, Boju. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Vincent. Thanks, Michelle. Okay. Thanks, Yong. Okay, it seems like there are quite a few of you are aware that there is this initiative going on. But what is this initiative about? Okay, for those of you who already know, please bear with me because I want to give some context to people who may not know about this thing. The next few slide is a bit wordy, but I have already tried to string it to as little words as possible, and hopefully with these two slides, it will give you a very good picture of what the whole thing is. Okay, hold on. It seems like my this is not working. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, so what is this MES Equity Market Development Program? Okay, for short EQDP. So back in August 2024, right? MES has actually recognized the need to really solve the issue of the illiquidity in our local market. Okay, and they set up this group called Equity Market Review Group to address the issue here, the poor listing and the poor liquidity that we have been seeing for many years prior to 2024. Okay, and after some months, right, finally they have launched this program called the Equity Market Development Program, EQDP for short. Okay, so what is this EQDP? Actually is a 5 million injection into the Singapore market. And this fund, right, is actually to be deployed via some of the active manager to let them invest in Singapore listed equity, including small and mid caps. Okay, so it's not like this fund is just going to the DBS, the Singtel, the Keppers, the Sembcorp. Okay, but don't get me wrong. I mean, the big cap are there for a reason. They deserve their limelight. But what I'm trying to say is that they are more than their Singapore market is more than the big cap. Okay, there are a lot of many good company. They are still in the SG space, and they need to be discovered. Okay, so this EQDB is about putting funds into the to be deployed to the market via this active manager to sniff out those undervalued stocks. Okay, of course, the program also involve tax rebate, okay, as well as research, okay, because to discover some of the so-called hidden gems or undervalued stocks, right, you need analysts to research. Okay, without research, nobody will know about them. Okay, so the fund will also go to grants for gem research for some of the small and mid cap and pre-IPO firms as well. Okay, and of course, I think I just read in the newspaper this morning where there is some guideline to streamline the IPO and the disclosure-based regime on the Singapore market. So what happened is that for many years now, right, Singapore market has been very strict. If a counter moves a certain percentage, they will get some inquiry from the exchange and be issued on the watch list and things like that. Okay, so now they are losing the whole regime to become a more disclosure-based regime, meaning that it's more for the listed company to really disclose what is happening rather than the exchange going to question them on why the share price go up so high and why the share price drop so much and things like that. Okay, so it will streamline the whole process. Then in March, right, 2025, in fact, in March and May, people has been eagerly awaiting this 5 billion EQDP. The market has been moving up a lot. Besides the Liberation Day, okay, we have been seeing a lot of upticks on the Singapore market, the Singapore stocks. And in May 2025, the MAS has actually came out to say that this EQDP, right, is a long-term initiative. Okay, it is to reassure the market that, oh, just because the market is illiquid, we're going to do this, then after that, we're going to forget about it. No, okay, it's going to be a long-term initiative and it's not going to be just a short-term fix. Okay, so it's going to position this EQDB as a strategy to really strengthen the whole financial ecosystem, and the Singapore market over the long run. Okay, it's not like it's not like just like a stimulus to just stimulate the market, then you forget about it. No, it's not that. Okay. And in July 2025, finally, we are seeing the first 1.1 billion being allocated to three asset management fund, Avanda, Fullerton, and JP Morgan. Okay. And in September 2025, they said that they will appoint more fund managers going forward. And in October 2025, we finally see the first move. Okay, that is Fullerton. So they has launched its first retail fund, the Fullerton Singapore Value Up Fund, which invests exclusively in the Singapore listed security, be it whether large cap, mid cap, or small cap, or even IPOs, under this EQDP umbrella. Okay, so till date, that is how the EQDP has been moving on. And I would say that there are more to come because we are still awaiting Avanda and JP Morgan to roll out their own funds. And of course, they are, I mean, 5 billion, right? Now it's only 1.1 billion. There's still about 3.9 billion to roll out for the next maybe next 1 year, I would say, okay, in the near term. So there's still a lot of tailwinds that is coming into Singapore market. Okay, next, the Singapore Next 50 index. Okay, I think it's very worthy. Let's make it as Next 50 index. Okay, so this one is very new. What happened is that just last month, 22nd of September 2025, SGS has launched this IH Singapore Next 50 index. Okay, and the purpose, right, is actually to put more limelight into the next 50 biggest company by market cap outside of SDI. Okay, so we are not talking about the DBS, the UOBs, the Capital Corp, the Sembcorp, the SIA, all these. Okay, what we are looking at is the next 50 companies, the next biggest 50 company by market cap after the first 30. Okay, so what is very interesting here is that SDI is purely by market cap. Okay, it's purely by market cap. But for this next 50 index, they actually offered two different variants. Okay, one is the traditional market cap, okay, which traditional investor can follow. They also come up with an alternative index, which is the liquidity weighted version, okay, to highlight that liquidity impact on the stocks. Okay, and how do they select? Well, as I mentioned, they take out the top 30 first. Then they will have a minimum market requirement of market cap of 100 million, which is very low. Okay, and of course, not only market cap, they are also taking the daily trading turnover as a measuring tape to put counters into the index. Okay, and of course there are also some weighting rules. Okay, for the market cap, right, these constituents will be weighted reflected to reflect the free float market cap and how each cap is kept. Cap meaning like now, for example, DBS is like what, 40 over 50% of SDI. Okay, but for this one, right, the one each stock is kept at 5%. Okay, that's the market cap version. Okay, for the liquidity version, weight are based on the trading liquidity, the medium daily trading value, to emphasize the actively traded stocks. You remember just now earlier I was mentioning, for those who have been in the share market for a long time, last time there are some small and mid cap that ran up very high. But if you look at the real trading, right, actually it's very thinly traded. And because it's so thinly traded, that's why a small buyer could have pushed the price up. Okay, so in this, which is why all these trading value, this trading volume, this trading liquidity is being put inside this next 50 to better reflect the whole market. Okay, so it's going to be rebalanced, just like SDI, every quarterly in March, June, September, and December. Okay, and the strategic context is that okay, these are too wordy. Maybe I make it a very, very casual way. Okay, so you can think of SDI as the Premier League. Most of you watch football, right? English Premier League. Okay, and the next 50 is actually the championship. So there will always be promotion and regulation. So they will do it every quarter. Okay, so those that are being taken up by those that are being regulated by the EPL, the English Premier League, the next 50 will go up. So there's like a two league now. Instead of last time, we are only seeing the SDI, the top 30. Okay, those who are familiar with Singapore soccer, last time Singapore soccer only got 10 teams in the Singapore Premier League, and that's it. Okay, no regulation, no promotion, and nothing. But now, okay, in these Singapore Next 50, they have a two-tier, they have a two-league kind of thing. Okay, so that it helped to so-called expand the number of stocks that is visible to institution fund managers and other investors overseas as well. Okay, so what is the implication of this IH Singapore Next 50 index? Well, basically, there is some green shoot here. what I would say is that number one, because it is an index, okay, in time to come, right, there will be funds or ETF that is going to track this index. Okay. And when these things comes out, right, this fund have to buy the same weightage exactly as what the next 50 index is in order to track them meaningfully. Okay. I can draw you an example. Back in the 2020 or 2021, right, when Hang Seng Tech Index was first introduced, that was just an index. Okay, very soon, CSOP came out with Hang Seng Tech ETF 3033 listing in Hong Kong. Then in Singapore, we also have this Lion OCBC Hang Seng Tech ETF. Okay, so how does this ETF work? What they have to do is that they have to buy whatever is inside the Hang Seng Tech index in order to track them meaningfully. Let's say, for example, if Alibaba is 5%, then this Lion OCBC Hang Seng Tech ETF have to buy 5% of their AUM on Alibaba. So that is the same in this case. Okay, and what does this mean? This means that more funds will flow into the company in this next 50 index if ever all these funds were to come in. Okay, of course, this is a very new index. It's only 1 month old. So far, we haven't seen any yet, but I believe I'm quite optimistic that in time to come, there will be fund and ETF issuer to create a fund or ETF to track this next 50 index. Okay, so just a very quick comparison between STI and IH Singapore Next 50 Index. So in STI, there are 30 constituent. In the IH Next 50, obviously, as the name suggests, there are 50. Okay. Focus for STI is more on the blue chip and large cap, whereas the Next 50 Index is more on the mid cap stocks. And the STI represent the largest and most established company on the SGX, whereas the next 50 capture the next tier of the company outside of the top 30. Okay, so these can include some company with very big growth potential and established operations in Singapore or worldwide. Okay. Okay, so having gone through what is this equity review group, this EQTB program, and these are Singapore Next 50 Index, okay, what they are trying to do here is to promote Singapore as a destination for more company to be listed here. Okay, this year, after I think more than like a decade, we are seeing a lot of IPO. Okay, we have Vince Holding, we have Infotech System, we have the biggest IPO in 2025, NTT REIT. We have homegrown company like Dan Chang Creations, okay, which is one of the actively traded stocks, as I showed earlier, even though they are only a few months old on SGX. Okay, we have a dual listing of this China Medical System. They are listed in Hong Kong, but they do a dual listing in Singapore. Okay, of course, we also have spin-off Centurion Accommodation REIT, and we also have another dual listing from US, from NASDAQ, AVE Point. Okay, it's actually listed on in the US market, but they do a dual listing in Singapore as well. And we also have a homegrown company, industrial property player, Soon Hock Enterprise. And upcoming, right, next week, we also have another spin-off, Collywood, spin-off from LHN Limited, which is also a Singapore company. And of course, we also have upcoming UI Bondstead REIT. Bondstead should be quite a familiar name to investors who have been in the market for a long time. It is a very old traditional company. Okay, now they are spinning off some of their property into a REITs. Okay, and besides more company listing, right, we are also seeing a lot of product being launched by SGX. Okay, just now I mentioned about SDR, right? Singapore Depository Receipts. In America, they have ADR. Like for example, Alibaba, right? Other than being listed in Hong Kong, they are also listed in US as an ADR. Okay, and in Singapore, we have SDR. Due date, right? We already have 13 Hong Kong SDR, about 10 Thai SDR, and just 2 weeks ago, I think, we launched another 3 Indonesia SDR. Okay, and from what I know, right, there are more to come. Okay, so what we are trying to do here, right? What the Singapore government is trying, or rather what the Singapore market is trying to do here, right, is trying to make SGX a very vibrant market, not only for company to come in, whether it's low homegrown or overseas, okay, whether it's a primary listing or secondary listing or dual listing, okay, but they are also adding a lot of products like SDR or even ETF to provide more options for investors to gain exposure to different part of the world. Okay, the latest ETF that was launched just very recently, it is Lion Global Short Duration Bond Fund, which is the second active ETF that was ever listed on SGX. So you know, right, ETF usually we are on a passive ETF. Okay, now we are even moving towards the active ETF arena. Okay, so it's really a very exciting time going forward. And all this, right, what we are doing is to encourage more institution and retail participation in the Singapore market. Okay, now let's end all the boring stuff. Let's start with more of the exciting stuff here. So where is the next SG opportunities? Okay, but before I show you the fish, I want to show you how I fish. Okay, I mean, it's very easy for me to say, hey, this stock is good, you may want to consider to buy. This stock is not so good, you may want to consider to sell. Okay, but without giving you context, give you the rationale of my train of thought, without giving you the rationale behind my action or my ideas, then that is not financial literacy. So I would like to really you know show you how I some of my trading strategy which has been working very well for me. Okay, this trading strategy that's worked for me may not work for everyone. Okay, that I have to admit, and please take note. And everyone is different. Everyone have their own trading strategy. Everyone is successful in their own way. So I'm not saying that these are the only trading strategy that is the correct way. There are other methods, like for example, for FA investors, fundamental analysis, there are people who look, they will look at P ratio. There are people who look at the bottom line. There are people who use discounted cash flow method. There are people who use sum of all parts. Okay, and for TA, there are people who use as simple as price action, moving average, to more complicated stuff like cup and handle, Elliott wave theory, candlestick chart pattern, and things like that. So there's no one size fit all trading strategy that works for everyone. Okay, and what I'm trying to share here is two strategy that has been working very well with me, and I really hope to share with you. And I'm not too sure whether it work for you or not, but it's always good to know more, right? Okay, so trading strategy that has been working for me thus far, right, especially in the small mid cap arena, is news driven spikes and technical alert, whether it's a price breakout or volume breakout. Okay, I have here a few examples. Okay, so this is a chart of Bonstat. Okay, and Bonstat, right, on the 12th of June, they announced that they are doing this strategy review of a Singapore logistic and industrial asset, which is what I'm referring to just now. These UI Bonstat REITs. Okay, it's going to be launched soon. No date is being given yet, but they have already launched with SGX, so it'll be coming out soon. But anyway, that's beside the point. What I'm trying to say is that once they announce, right, you not only see a price breakout, you also see a volume breakout. Okay, so this is how I detect a trading signal. Second example, Oiltech Limited, all right, iTech International Limited. So actually, back in February, they have already said that they want to transfer to the main board. Okay, what is the benefit of transferring the main board? It means that you gain more visibility. You know, people who are looking at your market usually, especially institution, they first of all look at the top liner first, those company in the main board first. Okay, so transfer to from the catalyst to a main board will give the company more visibility. Okay, and on in somewhere in April, right, they finally got the approval for the transfer, and you can see that the share price start to move out already. Okay, so this is news driven. Okay, it came up all the way until on the day where they had they already debut on the main board. We start to see some pullback. Okay, which I have to admit is out of my expectation. But it very fast, right? They came to say second news to come out to say that they are going to do a second listing in Bursa Malaysia, and that's where we see another price breakout and volume breakout. Okay, the example, which is one of the best example that I like to show, happening 2 months ago. So this is Bumitama Agriculture. So Bumitama Agriculture, right, on the 12th of August, if I'm not wrong, they released their first half 2025 result. And you see that the results were very good, and you see a gap up together with volume breakout. Okay, and I actually did a call on this, and it was one of my best call in 2025, which I can show you later. Okay. Okay, so now I have show you how I sniff out some of the trading strategy, sniff out some of the stocks that have been working well for me using the strategy that has been working for me. Okay, now we go to the fish pond, where to find the fish. Okay, so be whether as a speaker with the SGS Academy or as a remisier, as a broker to my client, there's always some sticky point where retail investors always get stuck. Okay. So some will tell me, hey, Dan, I know TA very well, but I need trading idea. Okay. I know cup and handle, I know Elliott wave theory, I know moving average, and I have back testing my TA. I am making very good call based on TA. But the thing is, I'm a retail investor. I don't have a screener. I can't be screening all the 600 stock on SGX to see where the 50 MA cut the 200 MA, where a ascending triangle is being formed, where a cup and handle is being formed. Okay, and the second sticky point, pain point that a lot of retail investors have is that um where do I find all these news-driven event? Often I only read it from CNA and maybe Business Times, from the news media. But I'm so busy at work. I have family commitment. I can't be, I can't be looking out for breaking news-driven events. By the time I look at it, it could be 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old already, or even 1 week old. Oh, okay. And of course, the last pain point is always where got time. Of course, I understand because a lot of retail investors, they have their own job, they have their family commitment, they can't be spending as much time as a broker like me or some active trader or professional trader whose main job is to trade. Okay, so these are some of the few sticky points that retail investors often have when they come to the market. So, I think just now, Darren has already shared a bit. Okay, so I really hope that this Invest SG can help to address just just now the three sticky point that retail investor have. So Invest SG, right? Maybe let me add on to what Darren has said earlier. It is actually a platform designed for traders and investors, specially vested in the Singapore market only. Okay, so their primary mission, right, is to actually empower user to connect, to learn, and hopefully to achieve financial success in the share market. So it's like a forum lah. It's just like investing on a forum where we share ideas. Of course, some of the ideas could be right, some of them could be wrong, but at least we learn something. We have some idea bouncing off each other, and things like that. And just now, I think Darren has shared that well, in this Invest SG, right, is going to be very vibrant because other than participant in the forum members, we also have some community leaders, okay, and the community leaders, we will have frequently giving out some trading ideas, some estimation, and we'll maintain some portfolios, hopefully to give reference for for the committee members to give to reference to, to see whether the ideas stick with them, align with them or not. Okay, of course, there is also the let me see. There's also a lot of investment idea that I personally have put there. Okay, so I just want to showcase a few example that I've been putting on the website. So just now we were talking about these bonds there, right? So what happened was that actually on the 16th of June 2025, upon the news, right, I've actually came out with these trading ideas. And for me personally, right, I feel that, to give out a trading ideas to put myself out there, I must give a lot of context to all the readers. Okay, so usually I will say uh the FA side, the highlights, the results. Okay, some of the catalysts, the potential catalysts that could aid my call. And of course, I will also share some technicals, okay, on the technical side of things. Okay, so for this, right, I did a trading idea on the 16th of June. Well, I mean, it takes a while, I would say, okay, but fortunately, it actually hit my target as well. Okay, and this is where you will be able to get, I mean, if you are busy working in your job, okay, at least if you come across this estimation on the 16th of June, probably if it align to you, you can go in and take a look yourself. And if you think it is okay, then you could consider following. If not, it's perfectly okay. I am not right all the time. I have my wrong call. Okay. The aim here is actually to share. Okay. It's not a guaranteed profit kind of thing. Okay, it's mainly to share. Okay, Oitake International, the example that I showed earlier. Okay, at the 9th of June, right? I was also uh, uh post out these trading ideas on why I look at Oitech, because they are moving into this main board. Okay, but before that, right, I even give the fundamentals, the latest quarterly result, to give the readers a sense of how the company is doing on the fundamental side. Okay, on the P&L side. Okay, then of course the news driven things. And I even add in, the links to some of the brokers' research report, and of course the technicals along with a chart. Okay, and well, this is quite a good call because it actually hit my target within a very short period of time. Even though I give it like I think about 6 weeks, but I think it got hit about 1 or 2 weeks. Okay, okay, this is my best call. This is my best call in 2025, in my opinion. So what happened was that I still remember that day. As I mentioned earlier, right, 12th of August was the day where Bumi Tama actually announced their result. But on 11th of August, right, I actually saw a spike up in the volume and in the price. Okay, this one may be too small. I go back to this slide. So do you see this thing here? Let me see. Oh, do you see this? Okay. So before the result was out, right, this actually came into my radar, where I see a spike up in volume as well as a spike up in price. Okay, and that was when I posted this trading idea, and well, I mean the turnout is very good. It got hit the very next day, the price kept up, and even though I put a target of 87 half, right, today is about $1.40 over cent. Okay. Okay, now to the fish. So finally, from fish pond to fish. Okay, before I go to fish, I just want to give some caveat, to you guys. Okay, first of all, I am not a magician. I am not a prophet. I have no crystal ball. Okay, I am not right all the time. I have my fair share of wrong horse, and I have my fair share of right horse. But all my calls, all my trading ideas is being lodged onto the Invest SG. So you all can track the performance. I believe that I have more right calls than wrong calls, which is a good thing. Okay, but it's all on Invest SG for you to verify it. Okay, so the really the aim, right, is to help to give investors more trading ideas, because I understand most of you are very busy, working with working or with family commitment and things like that. You can't have all the time to read out all the news. You can't have time to you know glue yourself in front of the screen to see which chart is doing a breakout and things like that. Okay, so the purpose of all these trading ideas is actually to alert you or alert all the members on certain news event or price action. But that's it, right? Investors should always only use them as a reference and always do your own due diligence. Okay, with this, I would like to just go into this Invest SG, right? So you can see, right? These are some of the okay, so where are the fish? So these are some of the latest trading ideas that I've been writing out. The last was 2 days ago. CapitaLand China Trust. Okay, so I list out what is the potential catalyst that prompt me to really write on these trading ideas. Okay, how is the price action like, and what is the risk profile? Yes, risk profile is something that I've been adding on recently to my trading ideas, because I understand that everyone have a different risk tolerance. So I don't want to just put out a trading ideas, maybe a high risk trading idea to a low risk tolerance reader. So I always put the risk profile. Okay, like for this one is a low to medium risk, because risk tend to be less volatile, and rate cut optimism is very high. Even though Powell said that the December is not locked in, but personally I think it's still very optimistic. Okay, and most will agree that regardless of the speed of a China recovery story, the story is still on. Okay, so I will give my personal view as well and a chart to follow. Okay, so this one is very new, it's 2 days ago. So what happened was that well, it doesn't really pan out as well as I expected. It went up a bit before now they come down again, because the result was not very good. But it's still early days, because there's still 59 days. So this is one trading ideas that you can take a look, because there was a breakout here. There was a technical breakout based on price. Okay, the other one, SD Engine. SD Engineering, I would say that I am a bit ambitious. Okay, I'm a bit ambitious here, because I put a target of $9. The all-time high was 9.07. Okay, and because of that, right, my duration I've also put longer, 2 months. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so far so good. Since entry, right, at 837, now it's at 8.54. So there is still somewhere to go. There's still about, I don't know, maybe another 40 over cent, 40 to 50 cent. Okay, to go. Nanofirm. Okay, Nanofirm is also another one that I've been looking at recently. Okay, so uh first of all, why am I looking at it? Because there's some price action. They have been on a steady uptrend from April to September. Okay, recently pulled back. They hit the 200 MA and they bounce it off. Okay, so I also add some context on the first half 2025, the FA side of things. Then I give my personal view, and of course, I also give the risk profile of, I mean, my own view of the risk profile of these trading ideas. Okay, so I will think that it's mid risk. Okay, and so far so good. Since I wrote this, when was it? It was on the 21st of October, which is last week. The price has been going up until, well, today they dropped back to 69.5. Well, it's still above my entry price, and we still have about 52 days to go. So maybe it's some one counter that you want to put in your watch list as well. Okay, Genting Singapore, a very familiar name on both sides of the causeway. Okay, on the 14th of August, or rather 14th of October. So this is mainly news driven because Genting Berhad has planned to buy out to delist the Genting Malaysia, and I think that there might be some spillover effect on the Genting Singapore side. Okay, so the price range on the chart, the price range bound between 0.71 to 77 since July 2025. So you see the price has been at this level. Okay. So when I issue this call, right, the entry price about 72 half is here. So to me, I think the risk is not so high. Okay, the risk is not why? Because if they are going to trade this way, even if I'm wrong, right? Even if I'm wrong, I think the 70 cent is the support line here. Okay. And so far, well, when I picked the call at 72 half, they went up to as high as 74 before coming back all the way to 72 half again. Well, I mean, there are still 37 days to go. So let's just see. Okay. Okay, so I'm not only covering on small and mid cap, I also cover on Sembcorp. Okay, so Sembcorp, right? The reason why I put out these trading ideas in early October was because this was one of the very few big cap laggard. I mean, Capital is nearing $10. Okay, DBS is more than $50, and SGX is $17 over dollars. Okay, they are all at near their all-time high. Even Singtel is at 43 something already. Okay, Semcom is the only one which is still very far away from their all-time high. And recently, right, they actually broke out of these range trading for the past 6 week, no? 6 week consolidation range of 59.95 to 620. They actually broke out of that. And the price also crossed the 200 MA. And with SG market and most big cap near their high, this is one of the very few big cap laggard. Okay, and the breakout seems strong to me with a big room for upsides. And I give a very ambitious target, $7, 8 weeks. Okay. So well, I mean initially hasn't been doing quite well as I expected, but in recent days, right, they start to come up, and now it's at 650. They hit as high as 660. So I still think that $7 is still a reachable target in the next 35 days. But of course, lah, I may be wrong, lah, but we always have to be optimistic, I would say. Tama. Okay, so this is Tama 2.0. Just now, the one I showed you was when they were at, 80 over cent, 90 cent. So, this is my second call of Tama when they were at $1.38. Okay, what prompted me to give out these trading ideas was because they break out of their previous 10-year high to refresh to a new high of 1.29. Okay, and the 2-day breakout is on higher than usual daily volume. Okay, I give some context on the first half 2025 results. Okay, and the risk profile, I said that is high risk. Okay, why is it high risk? Because if you are buying at a 10-year high, naturally you buy the higher you buy, it is going to be higher risk relatively speaking. Okay, so buy high, sell high strategy is only suitable for high risk tolerance investors. And I mean, fortunately for me, it actually panned out well, and it actually hit a high of 1.45, my target, okay, before coming down, but it's still at 1.41. Well, I mean, I believe there are still more upside, but as I mentioned, if you are embarking on a buy high, sell higher strategy, then you must make sure that you have a higher risk tolerance. Okay, there are a few more here. You all can go through yourself. I mean, now it's about, I think we are overrunning quite a fair bit. Okay, so you can go in there and take a look. Of course, I also have my investment portfolio. I maintain two portfolio here. One is on the big cap, the other is on the small cap. Okay, on the big cap is mainly on all the big companies. It may not be as frequent as the small cap one, but if you take note, right, I have been putting in trades regularly in October 29, 28, 22nd, 17. So it's not like, a date, so-called a date portfolio. I actually maintain it. Okay. So far it has okay, they start with they start with 100K capital, so now it's up. The total profit is about 50K, so it's about 50%. Okay, I don't know how the 10% come about. Okay, but these portfolios start with 100K. Is all being recorded in this transaction. You can just go all the way back, okay, to see all my transaction records. And the good thing is that for each call, right, I actually put in a note. Okay, why do I sell? Why do I buy? So you all have a context to know why I do what I do, so that you guys can share my school of thoughts and things like that. Okay. And of course, the other active small cap one is slightly more there are more transaction, obviously, because smaller cap, more active. So you can see that of course it also varies the market lah. I remember back in September and August, right? I was very active, but because the market is as I show you the STI chart, right, is is starting to get whip slowing. So my trade has been getting lesser and lesser, but I still maintain it quite frequently. Okay. Okay, so okay, so the next opportunity, where are the next opportunity other than those on the Invest SG is that you can refer to this IH Next 50 index. As I mentioned earlier, right? Uh, I mean, I cannot guarantee, but in time to come, there will be some ETF and funds that's going to track this Singapore Next 50 index. Okay, and these are all the constituent in the Next 50. Okay, and some of the company are quite familiar name like CoverDelGro, Netlink, SIA Engine, even Boston, Franken. So these are names that you can take a look at. Okay, so okay, I'm coming to nearly the end of my presentation. What I want to say is that the Singapore market isn't sleeping now. Okay, 2025 is a very transformative year. Okay, it is just waiting for those awake enough to really notice the the uptrend, the new optimism that we are going to have in the years to come. Okay, so please join me on Invest SG because in this market, the early movers make the music. Okay, so with that, I come to the end of my presentation. These are my contacts. Okay, I have a free Telegram channel there. If you want, you can join. If not, if you have not managed to get any of my contact, you can Google my social handle, hashtag DANCCS, and one of my social media platform will pop up, and you can always reach me there. Okay, so with that, I'm so sorry, Darren. I overrun a bit. I pass it
No
back to you.
problem. Okay, let me just do a screen share. All right. So, okay, here. Okay, all right. So let's say if you have any questions, right, you actually can talk to Dan here. All right. So what you can do is you can sign up for Dan. Then after that, you can comes to Dan's profile over here. Then you can put like, "Hi Dan, I have questions." Then da 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 da. So after you post, right, then we're able to see. Okay, so this is how you can talk to Dan also. All right. So you can actually go Invest SG. Okay, after you log in, this one is a profile, then you can see Dan's here, right? You can click on Dan here, then you can go to Dan's profile, then you can type, hi Dan, I have a questions, then you can just post, and then we're able to see. All right. So other than that, this one is the investment portfolio. Just now Dan show you. So you can just scroll down. There's a lot of different people. So let's say if you want to look for Dan's, then this one is Dan's portfolio. Okay, over here you can actually follow. Okay, you can follow Dan's portfolio. All right. Then once Dan do any updates or put any changes to the portfolio, you will receive the updates from the all right. So the transaction buy and sell, all this will be here as well. Okay. All right. So let me just stop shares. Okay, so I think right now it's 9:15. Okay, so I will just put this link here again. Okay, you can sign up here. for InvestSG, and you can follow Dan's portfolio here. Okay, I put into the chat. So if you're able to see on the chat, right, then over here. All right. So because today we have overrun a little bit, so if you have any questions, you can actually go to InvestSG and comment or reach out to Dan from there. All right. So once again, Dan, thank you so much for today sharing sessions. I learned a lot and looking forward to more on your sharing on InvestSG. And also I think it's also time. Thank you everyone for joining for this session. We will see you on the next webinar. All right.
Yeah. So sorry I overrun. Sorry,
No,
Dan.
no problem. No issue. All right. Okay.
Okay.
That's it for today. Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good
Bye-bye.
night. Bye bye.